Congratulations! You have just earned the honor of reviewing a certain level from everyone's favorite bear and bird, Banjo-Kazooie!
Banjo-Kazooie? Oh man, everyone loves that game!
Today, you'll be looking into the game's most hated level. A water level where the most interesting part is the large floating object in the middle of the stage.
There is only one level that fit that description.
Clanker's Cavern!
What?
Greetings, gamers, and welcome back to another episode of Level Complete, the show where we see if an individual level is just as good or just as bad as the games they come from. And when I thought about doing an episode on Banjo-Kazooie's worst level, I legitimately believed it would be on Rusty Bucket Bay.
Add tricky jumps with hazardous water, multiply with everything being reset after you die, and you get the equation for a very annoying, very frustrating level.
However, when I went on online forums to get a second opinion, it turns out that Clanker's Cavern was much more hated than RBB. And only because, get this, it's boring.
Now, does this mean Clanker's Cavern is a bad level? Well, if it really is boring, then sadly, yes. It could be classified as a bad level.
Just ask yourself, what is the main reason you play video games? Some people will answer it's to escape reality. Others would say it's their job. But we can all agree that we play video games because they're fun. Unless you hate your job, then, well, let's trade.
If a game, or in this case, part of a game, is boring, then that means you are not having fun. And if you're not having fun when playing a game, then it is doing something wrong.
It's time to see if Clanker's Cavern really is as boring as people say it is. Banjo-Kazooie got an average rating of 9 out of 10. Can Clanker's Cavern prove that it has what it takes to share that same score?
Like most levels in this game, Clanker's Cavern starts really strong. This first area is awesome in so many ways, like, for instance, the enemies. First, you have a single snippet, which is an enemy you would have faced before in Treasure Trove Cove, but this time the game is telling you, these guys are here, watch out for them. You also have grilled champas up on the pipes above. The majority of these guys are at the start of the level, but they do serve a bigger purpose, to prepare you for later levels. These enemies, or a variation of them, appear later on in the game, but in more perilous areas than that of Clanker's Cavern. Here, you can learn the best way to defeat them, and the most amount of damage you'll take is 3 hits. 2 from the champas themselves, and 1 more if you fall off the pipe. By now, you may have found out that by using the Beak Buster on the snippet, you can get 2 honeycombs instead of 1. And defeating the champas will give you 1 each to refill any lost health. If you need more, there is a beehive at the end of the row of champas with a Jinjo behind it.
The best part of this first area is the water. There is enough water there for you to swim, get a feeling for the controls, and see how fast your air meter goes down while underwater.
Yes, there's water in Mumbo's Mountain and in Treasure Trove Cove, but Clanker's Cavern is technically the first main water level of the game. Yay, another water level. This small body of water is the game's way of saying, hey, if you haven't gotten used to swimming yet, here's a pool for you to practice in, before scaring your pants off you.
The overall look of the level is perfect. Sure, it's not as colorful as Mumbo's Mountain or Treasure Trove Cove, and yes, it is probably the least colorful level in the entire game. But to be fair, it's a sewer. It's not like Clanker's having a disco party in there.
Another perfect aspect of Clanker's Cavern, which may not be surprising, is the music. Composed by the legendary Grant Kirkhope, Clanker's Cavern's music may not be the most bouncy, nor is it my personal favorite, but it does fit the level. especially when you go down the chain and are trying to release Clanker. That's just terrifying and gives way more stress than it needs to. This guy, right here, has never been the same since.
Speaking of collectibles, the ones in this level are perfect in terms of difficulty. You have some that are really easy to get, and with these you can proceed through the game normally. Then you have some that require some skill, but once mastered, you can get them easily. They also threw in one where only the most skillful can get easily. Everyone else is going to have to try for it 3 or 4 times.
Keeping in mind that this is the 3rd level of the game, the amount of difficulties at getting the collectibles is perfect. There's a lot of perfects in this level. Is there anything bad about it?
There is one thing about the level that makes it not stack up so well against the other levels. Its gimmick, or lack thereof. Mumbo's Mountain doesn't really have a gimmick either, but it's the first level of the game. If anything, its gimmick is teaching you what the rest of the game will be like. Treasure Trove Cove's gimmick is Snacker the Shark. He's not easily defeated, and he makes you fear the water as you go through the level, especially if you're trying to 100% it. Clanker's Cavern's gimmick is... water? I mean, there is nothing really else here that could count. The propellers in Clanker himself that you would need the Wonder Wing to get through only appear once or twice, and only in Clanker. The only thing that appears prominently is the water, and the fear of drowning that comes with it. Nothing all that special, and nothing we haven't seen before in other games.
This is probably why a lot of gamers consider Clanker's Cavern to be boring. Nothing really happens. There's just a couple of rooms with very few enemies. However, being the 3rd level of the game, it does what it's supposed to do. Prepare you for the later levels, like Rusty Bucket Bay or even Click Clock Woods.
The Grilled Champas prepare you for their return in Rusty Bucket Bay, and even the big cluckers in Click Clock Woods. The abundance of water in this level prepares you for the swimming you would do in Rusty Bucket Bay, and the annoying gimmick that comes with it. The small pipe above Clanker somewhat prepares you for the obstacle course that is the Rusty Bucket Engine Room. The location of both honeycombs reward those who search every nook and cranny, but also shows that you must search everywhere if you plan on 100%ing the game. Even the boss of the level is not that threatening. It's 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Snippets, or just mutant snippets, which take the same amount of hits and does the same amount of damage as a regular snippet that you've seen at the start of the level. If anything, the camera angle could be seen as the true boss, as it would be the only reason you would take any damage from the snippets in the first place.
Outside of Clanker might be boring, but everyone agrees that inside of Clanker is anything but.
I really like how you have multiple entrances to Clanker, each taking you to a different part of his body.
Also kind of disappointed that there's no butthole entrance. Or exit. You missed an opportunity there, Rare!
Almost half the Jiggies are inside Clanker himself, if of course you count shooting his right tooth and going inside to get the Jiggy as in Clanker. And each one is pretty fun to get. Minus the toothed one. Oh my god, could you just stay still? Going through the hoops in his stomach can be frustrating at first, but it's actually pretty fun once you know the order. Using the Wonder Wing to go through the propellers not once, but twice, maybe 3 times if you don't trust yourself for the second set, is always a blast. And finding out that you enter an entirely different section by jumping into his blowhole is pretty amazing. Plus, any chance to use the Wonder Wing is okay in my book.
Clanker's Cavern almost has everything going for it, if it's your first time playing. In fact, it probably utilizes both Banjo and Kazooie's moves better than Mumbo's Mountain. But I could see why some gamers would find it boring. It's my understanding that Clanker's Cavern was almost another level in development, and I feel like the level could have been more fun if they put more of the Jiggies inside Clanker. Banjo-Kazooie got an average rating of 9 out of 10. Clanker's Cavern almost made it, but I have to give it an 8 out of 10.
I can't help but compare it to a tutorial. It does its job and prepares you for what's to come perfectly, but like a tutorial, you only want to go through Clanker's Cavern once, or maybe even twice, depending on how long it's been since you played the first time. After that, you just find yourself wanting to go through it quickly as nothing is happening and you know the other levels after Clanker's Cavern does things better. Yes, the inside of Clanker is awesome, and the Wonder Wing is probably the most useful ability in the game, but that is only one small part of a large water-filled level.
I personally don't hate Clanker's Cavern. I find it enjoyable every time I go through. Except for when you're shooting at his teeth. That is so annoying and so painful. It's like pulling Oh!
Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you haven't already, you should check out the other 2 episodes that I did. One on Earthbound and the other on Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. If you have an idea for an episode, let me know down in the comments section, and make sure to like the video and even subscribe. That really helps out. That's all the time I'm going to take from you today. I hope you are having a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next level.